Welcome back to Einstein's disease. Loving what you're watching? Don't miss a moment of Einstein's disease or any of your favorite Now Media TV shows live or on demand anytime, anywhere. Download the free Now Media TV app on Roku or iOS and enjoy instant access to our full lineup of bilingual programming in both English and Spanish. Prefer to listen on the go? Catch the podcast version of the show right on the Now Media TV website at www.nowmedia.tv. From business and breaking news to lifestyle, culture, and everything in between, Now Media TV is streaming 24/7, ready whenever you are. Thank you for coming back to Einstein's disease. We are here again. As a reminder, it's just me today. Kenzie Terpstra is your only only host. My co-host Greg Ellers isn't available to join us, but we are joined today with Marco Musso, who is helping contractors stop winging it and start winning with his marketing agency, specifically for home contractors and roofing specialists. So Marco, thank you again for joining us. Last segment, we finished off with how you bring in your new clients. And so from here, what is your process? When you get a new client or you cold call somebody and they're like, sure, I'll give it a go. What's your next step?
Yeah, so kind of like what we spoke about earlier, it's all about establishing trust and building that relation because it's really how you frame things. And one of the frames, and again, one of the reasons why I think I've had success with it so far is I'm not just selling a service, I'm building a long-term relation. And when you come with that mindset, with those intentions, it's going to rub off onto the prospects. And that's what actually matters. Long-term relations, it's about people at the end of the day, and you're not just selling a service, you're building a community, you're building relations. And so think about it like this. How can I overload as much value as I can? And how can I just give so people don't need retention? And that's what actually matters. And so from an initial cold call, we have a discovery call, which lasts only between 10 to 15 minutes. And then we have an actual sales call, which is roughly an hour. And then we're coming from a perspective of actually seeing if we can help these people, seeing if they have problems, and seeing if they want to solve these problems themselves. Once they sign, we schedule an onboarding call, and that's going to last roughly an hour. I get access to everything. We discuss strategy, niche strategy, what makes them different, what makes them outcompete competition in their service area. And then in addition to that call, after the sales call, we have a kickoff call. And that's the day we basically run through all the ads, run through all the automations, all the back end features, all the boring stuff that I gotta get out of the way. And so we have several calls after they become a client of ours. And again, it's about building relations, over giving, and just give, because what you're gonna get is what you put out into the marketplace and the value that you actually provide. And then in addition to that, we have bi-weekly calls. We're in constant communication for customer support, customer service, if anyone needs anything. But again, it's about building long-term relations, and we have several calls after the initial sales call.
Gotcha. And then, so when you're bringing on a new client, what are some of the ways in that first couple of weeks that you're working with them? How do you show them the results of what they're working with you for?
Yeah, so what's really cool about what we do through paid meta ads, as opposed to like SEO or things of other sorts, it's that the results are instant. And in this marketplace, time to value is extremely important. Buyer's remorse is a real thing. When as soon as you give someone thousands of dollars, they're like, "Oh man, did I make the right decision? Did I get my money back? What am I doing from here?" So it's all about streamlining the entire process, keeping the clients up to date at what's going to happen when, because you have to be a professional at what you do in order for client retention. But again, time to value. And so with us, the results are pretty instant. People are going to start getting appointments within the first week, and it's all through meta ads. And that's really what the unfair advantage is, because a lot of times people will put things in place like, yeah, I have a company doing SEO, or I have a company doing social media posts, and that's great. But those take time. If you want to gain virality on the socials, it's going to take time. Yeah, you can, of course, get a viral video, whatever, but the chances of that are relatively low. SEO, it takes weeks to develop to actually get to the top page of Google, because think about it. How many companies are in your service area? How many links are there on the front page of Google? 10 to 15. And it's all a numbers game at the end of the day. Marketing is a numbers game. The company that's going to win typically is the one that puts in the most, unless you have the marketer that knows what they're doing. So results are instant with us. through paid meta ads, and time to value is extremely important.
Gotcha. And so could you walk through us? I know this is a little bit off topic. Can you walk through with us just what exactly the meta ads look like on the back end? What exactly goes into placing a meta ad on Instagram or Facebook?
Absolutely. And so people nowadays don't want to be forced sold something down their throat. When you see an ad and it just when you see a pic or a post online and you're scrolling and it screams ad, that's just unattractive. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to click on that. And the more personal, the better. And what I mean by that is some of the best performing ads and some of our clients are simple photos of them with a selfie on a roof with their crew smiling. As you know, as cliche as it might sound, the more personal, the better, because we live in a world where everything is AI. It's slowly becoming AI. Everything is technology. People are on their tablets for 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, you know, you might be watching this and thinking, yeah, you're right. My screen time is 7 hours today. I didn't touch grass today, you know? So the more personal, the better. And people resonate with authenticity, honesty, truth, and just keeping it real. And when we live in an age of a lack of social connection, human conversations, by being able to kind of portray that through meta ads, it's going to resonate with people. And those images, as I mentioned, selfies, in addition to videos of giving value, and there's different ways to give value to the marketplace as a roofing contractor. It could be educational, or you can talk about the job that you're doing, or you could talk about why you're better than different marketing companies or different roofing companies in your service area. So there's different ways of establishing good content, because another thing too is that the way the algorithms work, Meta is far smarter than anyone knows, myself included. The way the algorithms work, they know where a good customer is and where a good customer isn't. And the way it's going to feed you that is if you give it what it wants. And what it wants is to test new things. Don't just post once and let it run. You have to constantly be reinforcing, changing the sales copy, changing the images. And by extension, it's going to give you what you want if you give it what it wants. As simple as that. It's harder done than said.
100%. I've tried to dabble with meta ads before, and I don't understand any of it. So that question was just as much for me as for all of our viewers, because it doesn't make any sense. But I completely get where you're coming from with the using photos of real people and families and small business to a degree to say, and that is something that I hear as a journalist a lot, and it's something that I see a lot in people's reactions and behaviors, is that people crave community. The age of technology is really taking us away from community. And so you're fostering community through portraying these people through meta in a certain way. And so that's incredible. It makes complete sense why this has been so successful so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And another way to think about it too is that our biology since the dawn of human time hasn't changed. And that means the brain still works the same. Our DNA is still the same from tens of thousands of years ago. And really understanding psychology, how to market, what pain points what your ideal customer is facing, and figuring out the specifics and the pain, and just putting yourself in a third person perspective and saying, okay, what is my roofing client's ideal customer thinking? What are they feeling? And how can I reach that through an ad? And through that constant thinking and just refining process, you're going to come to your own conclusions, and you're going to just rinse and repeat the process to eventually find a proven system that works. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to come overnight. It's going to take time. And there are no shortcuts to learning how to run ads, just like there are no shortcuts to learning any skill. You as well, right?
Absolutely.
So it's all about time in, and when it comes to running meta ads, there are no shortcuts, and that's the truth people don't want to hear, because everybody wants quick pleasure, quick dopamine rushes, and I get it, but keeping it, just keep refining, and you're gonna find your answers through there.
100%. Instant gratification isn't always the right way to go.
Yeah.
And so, this is a great time to kind of transition a bit of obviously you've told us how you bring on your clients, what exactly you're using with them, how you establish that relationship with them. How are you retaining them? How do you keep them coming back for all of their marketing needs, whether that is immediate or 6 months down the road, they come back and say, hey, help us out again?
Yeah, that's a great question. Now, when it comes to retaining, the most important thing is, in my opinion, retaining. Anybody can sign a client, anybody can launch a media campaign, but what do you do when you experience ad fatigue? What do you do when Meta's not working in your favor? And what do you do when clients are getting results or when they're not getting results? And so when it comes to client retention, really it just comes down to the bottom line benefit, and that is, are you getting them results? Are they making more money? Are you putting them in front of more homeowners than when they were without you? And one of the things, and that's it's an important thing to kind of have, like if a client wants to go, having an exit call, because you kind of want to establish to one major point on that call, and that is what happens when you don't work with us. What happens when you don't have the consistent lead flow that you once had? Will you be back where you once started before we started working together? And retaining clients is extremely important if you want to build consistent recurring revenue and a long-term relation and actually scale a company. And it truly, honestly, just goes back to the bottom line benefit of my job. And that is, A, will I make them more money by putting them in front of more homeowners? And B, another thing I, emphasize too is making their life as stress-free and easy as possible. Because the truth is, contractors, they're busy people, they're constantly on the go, they're constantly in meetings, they're doing it, they're at job sites. And my job is to make your life as stress-free and easy as possible. And in addition to all of that, another side thing that's less important is people buy into people. It's really prevalent among Asian countries, China, Japan, they buy into people. And going back to our initial conversation, that's really why I think I've had tons of success in retaining clients, because I deal with all of my clients on the front end. I'm not delegating it just yet because I enjoy it. And when you have someone that truly believes in what they're doing, and when you have someone that truly understands the algorithm, truly understands that they can get results, and that they're coming from a place of wanting to help as opposed to just selling a service, that rubs off on the prospect and it makes them want to stay with you. And building those personal relationships, like for example, one of my clients out in Oregon, Gerald, who I spoke with earlier last week, and we did a testimonial video. He's been with me for roughly 4 months. And on our check-in calls, I mean, we're just talking about life. I mean, at this point, it's just not even roofing related. We're just talking about life. We're talking about, like, what are you doing this weekend? Are you going hiking? How's the family? How's your brother? This, that, the other. So it's cool. It's really cool, honestly. Once you kind of get past that initial, okay, they're getting results, like maybe we could keep it a little more casual and personal. But I kind of hope that helps answer the retention part.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, you made it clear you're a real person that's really just trying to work with real people that want to see real results. And so, Marco, before we jump to break, how can people find you? Where can they get a hold of you, find more info about how to get involved?
Yeah, so my website is awakeninggrowth.com. Through there, contractors can look at my website, book a call if they want, a discovery call, which just to see if we can help in the first place. And then in addition to that, I have a YouTube channel. I'm slowly growing, trying to teach other SMMA owners, and that's just my name, Marco Musso. And again, I keep everything raw and real, no brain rot, no quick edits, just me talking.
For sure. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. To our viewers, we will be right back. We're going to take a break, but we will be back with more info on Awakening Growth and what all Marco has under his belt.